Hey, what's up everybody? In this video tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to create a screw. Yeah, a simple machine called the screw, which is basically just an inclined plane that's wrapped around a cylinder. Um, and honestly, it's not going to be a screw that we're building today. It's just a fastener. It's going to be like a machine bolt, all right? Just a hex bolt. You could walk into Home Depot, you could walk into Menards right now, and you're going to be able to pick any sort of bolt, and it's going to look, something like this. So kind of fun when you kind of get to learning this when you're actually creating true threads when it comes to bolts. Um, so let's go ahead. Let's just get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Onshape lever assembly assignment. I'm going to create a new document, and I'm just going to call this one hex head bolt assignment. And I'm going to go ahead and create that public document. All right, so a typical bolt that you're going to find out there is what we call a quarter 20 UNC. Okay, so a quarter 20 UNC, the quarter, 1/4, means that is the diameter of the bolt, or pretty close to it. The 20 is what we call threads per inch. So when you look at a bolt, you can see that there are threads on it. These are the ridges. And what 20 means is how many threads there are per inch, or what we call TPI. So quarter diameter, 20 threads per inch, and then a UNC is what we have as a designation. There are coarse threads, there are fine threads, extra fine, there are specialty threads, there's all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to get something that's somewhat close to a quarter 20 UNC bolt. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come out here and sketch on this top plane. And I'm going to draw a circle starting from the origin, and that circle needs to have a diameter about, quarter of an inch, 0.25. So I'm going to go ahead and green check it, look at this in the isometric view, and I'm going to go ahead and do an extrusion here. And I'm going to say that this bolt is going to be about 2 inches long. I'm going to say okay. All right, so that's simple enough. All right, so now what we have to do is we have to create the actual profile of the thread. And the profile of the thread is really simple. All it is a triangle shape. But before we get to that, what I want to do is go out there and wrap a helix. It's a coil that's going to go around the cylinder. So if we come up here, we can see that we have our helix feature. All we have to do is pick a cylindrical face, and now it's asking us for how many revolutions we want to go around that cylinder. So we were talking about this being a 20 TPI, or threads per inch bolt. We have this at 2 inches, so we're just going to go ahead and just type in 40, okay, for those 2 inches. All right, so when we do that, we can see how it wraps this helix, okay, around the cylinder. Now what I'm going to do is create a sketch, and I'm going to be picking on this plane right here and looking at this plane. I'm going to zoom on in here. And what I'm going to do is come up and pick on U's. I'm going to pick U's on this edge over here so that geometry comes through. And now I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to just have it right here at the end. And I'm going to say that this line is going to come out, I don't know, about 0.06. Okay, and now I'm going to draw a line starting from the base, and I'm going to bring this down, I don't know, we're just going to call this, I think we're pretty close to 0.03. Let's just call it 0.03. And let's now draw a line that's going to connect these two together. Okay, so that's only going to be half the profile. So all I have to do now is come up here, go to mirror. I'm going to be selecting this line here as my mirror line, and now I can just pick this line to flip it over, and now I can connect from here to give the profile that I'm looking for. So now that my profile is done, I can green check it. I can look at this in an isometric view. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and just shut down these view planes, or these work planes, because I'm going to come up here, go to sweep. I'm going to be picking on this profile and this profile. Now I'm going to come over to the red box that's asking for my sweep path, and now I'm going to be picking on that helix. And when we do that, we can now see, I'm going to green check this, now we can see that we have that thread that's wrapped around that bolt. Okay, so just with how things are, that thread is now sticking out above the actual bolt, okay? And then below down here, we can see how it's sort of sticking out below that bolt down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a sketch on top of this surface right here and look at that surface. And I'm just going to create a circle starting from the origin, and I'm going to go beyond the actual object itself. I'm going to green check it. And now what I can do is use extrude, make sure to grab the entire profile. I'm going to say that this is going to be a remove, but the thing is I want this to remove in the different direction. I just want to bulldoze the top of this off. Okay, and we can see how it's cutting off 1 inch, okay, above the bolt. I'm going to go ahead and green check it. Okay, so when I do that, now we can see that there's actually a little bit of a burr there, okay, but it's all going to be flattened on top. Okay, I'm now going to come down here to the bottom, and what I'm going to do is create a sketch, same as last time, look at that face, create a circle. I'm going to go beyond the actual object. I'm going to green check it. I don't know, maybe this time we'll do something a little different. Let's go with extrude. This time it needs to be a symmetrical extrusion. And I'm just going to lop off like maybe 1/8 of an inch. And I need it to be a remove. Okay, so it should be a symmetrical extrusion in both sides. I'm going to go ahead and green check it. All right, and now that's really coming in nice and clean. The burr is there. And honestly, I might go back and fix this one. Let's see if we can get this one to work. I'm going to edit this. Let's go with symmetrical. That was saying 1 inch, but we can probably just do something similar like 0.125 as a remove. And let's see if we can kind of clean it up. Yep, and everything is absolutely bulldozed off the top. Now, we can sort of see this curly Q that's left over from the helix. A lot of people want to come over here and they're trying to turn off the helix, but we can't see the eye. We can't turn the visibility off here in the browser. But if you come underneath curves down here, you can see curve 1. You can shut it down. All right, and there you go. Okay, that is how we create that threading. All right, so I said we were walking into Home Depot and buying a hex head bolt. So let's actually create a hex head bolt. Why not? All right, so I'm going to say I want to sketch on this top surface here. I want to look at this, and I'm going to come up and find my inscribed polygon. Come here to the origin. I'm going to pull this up, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just accept 6, okay, for my sides. And then this is when I could actually come out and dimension this as well. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this simple. I'm going to say the top of that is going to be 1/2 of an inch. I'm going to green check it, flip this over, and now I can use extrude to grab this entire profile to send that up. Obviously that's way too tall, so I'm going to send that up maybe 1/4. See what that looks like. Okay, so 1/4 is looking pretty good. All right, so now that we have that done, all right, this isn't really how a hex bolt looks, by the way. You're going to see, like in a true hex bolt, it's going to be rounded over. So we're actually going to give it that appearance. So let's go ahead and do that. So what you're going to do is create a work plane, and we're going to come here where it says offset, and I'm going to come down here and find 3 point. I'm going to pick this first point here on this corner, second point here on this corner, and then come over and pick on this corner. So that work plane is now going right through it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and green check that, and I'm going to start a sketch on that plane that I just created and green check it. Now that that is done, I'm going to come down to my last sketch. I'm going to pick on it and pick on section view. Now everything has been removed, okay, back to that face. All right, so now I'm going to come to my sketch 6, my last sketch. I'm going to pick on edit, and then this is when I can come in, and I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to create a rectangle from this corner here to this corner here. I'm going to come up here to fillet, and I'm going to create a fillet here to here that is a radius of 0.06. I'm going to do the same thing from here to here. And I'm going to create a fillet from here to here. All right, so we can see how we just sort of rounded that off. Okay, in order to finish all this up, I'm going to draw a line starting from this intersection. I'm going to send it beyond, okay, the actual bolt. I'm going to bring it down, track it off of that point, and then bring this back over to this tangency point right here. All right, I am going to need an axis to sort of work with, so I'm going to draw a line. All right, and if you get close here to the center, you can see how it's tracking off the bottom. So I can just go ahead and pick this and draw a line straight up, like so, and then green check it. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is come here to my sketch, turn off the section view, and now I can go into revolve, and I'm going to be picking this profile over here. My red box for the revolve axis is going to be this line right here. But the thing is, I want this to be a remove, and I'm going to go ahead now and just green check it. All right, and that is actually how a hex bolt looks if you were going to be buying that from the hardware store. Shutting down some planes here. Okay, and there you go. All right, so a really good thing to be watching with this is you're going to see if there's a video out there. It shows you how machine threads are actually created with a lathe. A lathe has been something that's been around for a very, very long time. There's a lot more technology that goes into lathes now, but the same sort of concept is there, whether that lathe is 80 years old or whether it's 2 years old. All right, it still does the same thing. So make sure you're watching the video to see how this is done in real life. But this is how we model it virtually, and you have just created a hex bolt that you could buy from any hardware store with actual physical threads. Okay, kind of cool. Have fun with that.